What was the work that your father got into here?
He came to this country. Remember, he was still a kid. He was in his early 20s. And they probably had a sponsor. Somebody had a sign for you to come to that area. And that person, I think, was a butcher or worked in a slaughterhouse. And he said, look, Ziggy, I might be able to get you a job in the slaughterhouse. And my father told me he went for his interview. And for his interview, the guy had him flex. And he felt my father's arms, thank goodness they weren't the size of mine. And he hired him. And basically his job was to schlep the carcasses of the meat, the cows, and put them in the freezer, almost like Rocky. If you saw the movie Rocky when he's in the freezer, well, my father was the original Rocky. And he then learned a trade. He learned how to bone, the meat. And that led him into opening up a butcher store, which he did, and then he became a butcher, and he owned his own stores. Never made much money, which was the bad part. But the good part is that we never knew it because there was always food in the house. There was always, I don't know why, but 3 chickens in the oven and a brisket and burgers, and there was always food. And of course, that was super important to them coming from where they came, where they went for so many years with no food. So even, all my friends were welcome, and neighbors. You never know. Ma, why is there 3 chickens in the oven and a brisket? Well, you never know who's going to come up. You don't know. Maybe tell your friends to come up. And they did. And there was always food, and it was great. Number one, there were no recipes. The recipes were like, hey, I'm going to grab a little, I'm going to grab that. And everybody always gravitated to my parents' apartment. And even though it was small, I don't know, she fed 40 people at a time. How is that even possible? I don't know. She would make gefilte fish, and people would come from all over and buy scratch. I couldn't even pretend to tell you how, except I think it starts with pike, like a pike fish. And next thing you know, there would be this amazing gefilte fish that people raved about. They said, nobody makes gefilte fish like Zasha. Okay? I have a cousin who's a surgeon in Manhattan now, through marriage. He would come from Manhattan. He would drive into Brighton just so he could get some gefilte fish from my mother. So that was one of her specialties. She made something called chulent. You ever hear of it?
Can you describe it then?
Yeah, so chulent was this ingredients of meat and potatoes and vegetables with a large dose of fat. I don't know where, but just fat. And it just would cook. She would put it in the oven. I think she left it there for a month, And it was one of those dishes when it came out. If you took 2 spoons, you were full for a week. And you could feel your arteries closing as you ate this. But this was wonderful. You have a drink, you eat a chulent, you got a gefilte fish, and what could be better than that? She actually also made her own chopped liver, where she had what they called a hockmesser. A hockmesser and a bowl, and she'd put these in. And she did all this until a few years ago when physically she just didn't have the strength to do it. And as I said earlier, there was always, that was special, but there was always like 3 chickens in a brisket hanging out, because you never know.